Hello! Today we are going to practice some vocabulary and grammar exercises and we'll give information about one of the curricular topics such as biology. First of all, some vocabulary exercises. The request is, fill in these words in the sentences. All these words are to describe a person's clothes and appearance. Let's start. Real leather boots tend to be expensive nowadays. I like the shirt with the thin red and white stripes. I need to get a new pair of trainers if I'm going to take up jogging. My granddad often wears a woolen cardigan during the winter. Dan is wearing a plain cotton t-shirt. And John always wears a shirt and tie to work. Let's go on with the other exercise. This exercise deals with the jobs and professions, some of the vocabulary we had in the unit. Let's start with the first. Linda is getting a beautician to help her look her best for her wedding. We'll have to call an electrician if we keep having problems with the power. Miriam is learning to play several instruments and wants to be a musician. I had to get an accountant to help me sort out my tax forms. As neither politician spoke the same language, they needed a translator to help them communicate. The cleaner is on holiday, and so the house is a mess. Here we have an exercise about the phrasal verb look and their particles. Try to memorize the meanings of phrasal verbs and to use them properly in the sentences or situations. Let's start with the first. I'm looking forward to meeting the new neighbor. It means to anticipate. Did you look the word up in the dictionary? To look up means to search for the meaning of a word in a book. I have to look after my niece tonight, so I can't go out. To look after has the meaning to take care of somebody. Tim is arrogant and often looks down on other people. It means the team sees people as being inferior. The last sentence, Ken looks up to his father and always listens to his advice. To look up to someone means you admire that person. Word formation is one of the most important parts of learning English. Here you have a word at a certain grammar form, and you have to adapt it to the sentence and put it into another grammatical part of speech. Let's see the first one. Emily is extremely ambitious and plans on being very successful. My little sister is very picky with her food and doesn't eat much. Isabel isn't very tactful and can sometimes offend people. You need to be a caring person to work as a nurse. My granddad is quite forgetful and always have to remind him of everything. I think I'm creative enough to write a novel one day. Avery doesn't share anything easily and has a reputation for being terribly selfish. Everyone in Hank's family is artist and quite famous. I found the film very boring, and so I left the cinema early. And the last one, Tom thinks he is funny, but no one ever laughs at his jokes. If you can guess, here we practice the adjectives formations with different endings. As we mentioned before, the adjectives are formed by nouns, verbs, or other words. Let's start now with the grammar. In this unit, we talked about verb tenses, present simple and present continuous. We have to decide here where to put the verb, in which of the tenses. My advice here is to focus at the time reference and to remember the grammar rules about the difference between the present simple and the present continuous. Let's start with the first. Peter is sleeping in his bedroom at the moment, the time that we are speaking. Amy doesn't work on Tuesday, so is not part of her routine. Howard is thinking about buying a new suit. Here, think, even though it's a stative verb, is used with the connotation of an action. The chef is tasting the food now to see if it is cooked. My dad is flying to Rome tomorrow morning. Here we have a fixed arrangement in the future. Does Emma like to make her own clothes? Here we have a stative verb in the question form. Where do we put the auxiliary does at the beginning and followed by the subject and the base form of the verb. Robert isn't playing basketball right now that we are speaking. Nathan doesn't like shopping for clothes. Let's see now. Present perfect and other tenses. Which is the best answer for each set of sentences? It's been snowing now for almost 2 days. It describes the length of time. Zoe and Bob have been working together for 10 years, and we don't know if the action goes on at the time we are speaking. Ben has always believed in his ability to overcome difficulties. We cannot say has been believing, as believed is part of the stative verb group. Ines wants to become a fashion designer. Here again we have a stative verb not normally used in continuous form. Where do you usually buy your clothes? Here we have an adverb of frequency that indicates that the verb is to be used in the present simple. John is meeting his friend Nick for lunch tomorrow, a fixed arrangement for the future in present continuous. Has Ned finished his homework yet? We have a present perfect tense used in this sentence to say that the action maybe is not finished at the time that we are speaking. Now, at the cross-curricular topics, we often discuss and read about different areas of study. Today, we have the subject and the field of biology. As we know, most of our traits are passed out from generation to generation. At home, you will think about which of the traits we inherit from our parents and which not. You will read the text and try to find out some information that deal with the request of inheriting traits for our parents. Try to focus on the appearance and the personality. Thank you for your attention.